As part of staff engagements, Prime Minister Honorable Dickon Mitchell met with the staff of the Customs and Exile Department. According to Prime Minister Mitchell, the engagement with the team was a success as there are identified areas for improvement if staff productivity is to get better. One of the main focus areas of the discussion was that of preparing the team to embrace technology if the goal of going paperless was to be achieved.
We exchange ideas as to the government's position on some of those and the policy it intends to pursue. The comptroller and his team as well shared their thoughts. The meeting was frank, productive. I think we understand both from a policy point of view as well as from an operational point of view some of the challenges we need to address. I indicated to the comptroller that I'm happy to hear from him and his team as to what are the challenges they face and what are the solutions they certainly want to put forward. Because I think it's important if we're going to be effective to ensure that the suggestions and the solutions that the government puts forward has significant input and buy-in by the comptroller and his team. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have that buy-in, we really will not be successful in achieving it.
More attention would be placed on certain public standards as well as public education and compliance issues so that the populace would have a greater appreciation for service offered by the Customs and Exile Department, said Prime Minister Mitchell.
The comptroller's team pointed out that oftentimes if people don't know what they're required to do, then it's difficult for them to comply. So we recognize that that's an area we have to beef up, the PR, the communications, and we believe GIS will be helping in that regard. So the overall, I think the meeting was very constructive. I certainly look forward to working with the comptroller and his team to ensure that the customs department, as you know, the government depends significantly on customs duties as one of the two main sources of revenue to fund the government. So we need to constantly improve our collections, but at the same time, we want to make sure that the experience for the citizens who are treating with customs is a wow experience and leaves them praising the customs department.
Mitchell also mentioned the challenges staff are faced with, but he would do his utmost best to address it and hopes to continue these engagements until every department under his portfolio is touched.
It's really an engagement to be open, to be transparent, and more crucially, to hear from the persons who are in the departments day to day as to what challenges they face, as to what is good, what is indifferent, what is bad, and how we can improve, as well as to also share our policy agenda on what are the things we would like to see happen within the departments as well.
Noel Cooper, captain of the Harbour Master, said his crew members are the victims of the incident that led to world javelin champion Anderson Peters being restrained and falling off the vessel in Grenada on August 9th. In a public statement, Cooper said he needed to set the record straight for his peace of mind. I understand that Anderson Peters is one of Grenada's national heroes, but he is also human and should be held accountable for his actions. He said the incident occurred after sailing the recovery cruise and he was instructing the deckhand team to begin preparing the boat for the next cruise. He saw his crew asking and encouraging a group of men to leave the ship, but the men refused. Cooper claimed Peters began to get aggressive, pacing up and down the ramp. He claimed he approached Peters and asked him to leave 4 times, but Anderson cursed him and insulted him for being Trinidadian. While on the ramp, I informed Anderson that I was the captain of the ship. Anderson responded by cursing me and throwing water in my face. I tried avoiding further altercation by walking away from him, off the ramp and back onto the main deck. When I got to the main deck, I realized a member of Anderson's clan had just assaulted my cruise manager, Benji, by slapping him in the face. My crew tried once again to get the men off the boat, but they continued to refuse with aggression. He claimed Peters spat at him and tried punching him in his face, and that his team defended themselves. The videos circulating on social media show only a small portion of what happened and do not show the attacks my crew received from Anderson and his group. The brawl eventually moved to the ramp. With all the scuffling, Anderson lost his balance and fell into the water. No one threw Anderson into the water. He said he and his crew were relieved that Peters was pulled out of the water and was safe. Peters continued with his aggression and refused to leave the boat until the police arrived. A mob gathered outside saying that we attacked Grenada's national hero. In my profession, I make an oath to protecting all souls on every vessel I captain. I would never intentionally harm another human. I understand Grenada's love for Anderson Peters, but I believe the public should know the truth about the situation. This concludes the local segment of the news as produced by Triple N. The sports is up next.
First, fast, and factual. You are totally covered by Triple N.
Now more than ever, Flow is working hard to keep you connected to the things that matter most: your family, your work, and your favorite entertainment. We are also providing Flow Study free of charge so students can stay connected and up to date with their schoolwork. And because your safety is our highest priority, you can manage your account from the safety of your own home through the MyFlow app. We are here for you, keeping you connected.
Good day, sporting fans. I am your presenter, CJ. Regionally, in cricket, half centuries from Shamar Brooks and the player of the match, Brandon King, helped the West Indies salvage a measure of pride after they defeated New Zealand by 8 wickets with 6 balls to spare in the third and final T20 International at Sabine Park in Kingston on Sunday. New Zealand took the series 2-1 after winning the first T20 International by 13 runs last Wednesday and humiliating the West Indies by 19 runs on Friday, which meant that Sunday's match was a dead rubber with only pride at stake for the home side. Set a target of 147, the West Indies cruised to 150 for 2 from 19 overs. The victory was set up by an opening stand of 102 between Brooks, who was unbeaten on 56, and King, who entertained the small crowd gathered with 53 from 35 balls, his first T20 international half-century on home soil and his 5th overall. It was the first opening stand of 100 or more by the West Indies since January 2020 against Ireland. King eventually got out in the 14th over attempting to pull Tim Southee over the square leg boundary, but was caught by Martin Guptill running from deep. Devon Thomas wasted an opportunity to get some runs under his belt when he was caught at deep mid-wicket by Glenn Phillips for 5 to leave the West Indies 113 for 2 midway the 15th over. Standing captain Rovman Powell ensured that there would be no jitters. He scored 27, not including the match-winning 6 over the mid-wicket boundary from James Nisham's final delivery. Powell and Brooks shared a 37-run partnership that took the home side to victory. For the first time in the series, the bowlers and batsmen were unsung. Odean Smith took T20 career best figures of 3 for 29, Dominic Drakes bowled tidily to finish 1 for 19, and Akil Hossain 2 for 28 to restrict New Zealand to 145 for 7, the lowest total of the series. Phillips followed up his 76 from the second T20 International with a 26-ball 41, but New Zealand lost wickets at regular intervals and were unable to put together any meaningful partnerships. In fact, it was a 47-run fourth-wicket partnership between Kane Williamson, 24, and Phillips that helped the Tories set a respectable total after struggling 57-4-3 in the 19th over. Devon Conway's 21 was the only other score of note as the West Indies bowlers maintained a stranglehold throughout the 20 overs. On the international scene, in athletics, an athlete who was allegedly racially profiled during a stop and search has said he was pulled over a second time by 7 armed police officers. Sprinter Ricardo Dos Santos published a series of video tweets of him being pulled over and questioned by police in Paddington at 4 BST on Sunday. The men said officers were concerned the driver may have been using a phone. 5 officers faced a gross misconduct hearing over a stop and search in 2022 involving the sprinter and his partner. In a statement about the incident on Sunday, the Met says the officers clearly indicated for the car to pull over, but it failed to do so and they called for further assistance. Mr. Dos Santos said officers believe he was on his phone when they stopped him in West London and claimed one officer took his baton out of his pocket out of frustration, ready to smash the glass after not knowing how to open the car door. He added nothing had changed. 2 years after he was pulled over with his partner Bianca Williams and their daughter. In a subsequent tweet, Mr. Dos Santos revealed further unpublished footage will be with his lawyer. And that's sports for you. I was your presenter, CJ. Thank you for listening.
After this commercial break, international news will be next on this station.
Now more than ever, Flow is working hard to keep you connected to the things that matter most: your family, your work, and your favorite entertainment. We're also providing Flow Study free of charge so students can stay connected and up to date with their schoolwork. And because your safety is our highest priority, you can manage your account from the safety of your own home through the MyFlow app. We are here for you, keeping you connected.
On the international scene, the Democratic-led House of Representatives approved a $430 billion bill that is seen as the biggest climate package in the U.S. history. delivering a major legislative victory for President Joe Biden ahead of the November 8th midterm elections. Here are the details.
Hail to the chief, to Joe Biden. His leadership, his vision, his inspiration made today possible. Thank you, Mr. President. This is like historic because every member in the House and every member in the Senate, Democratic member in the House, Democratic member in the Senate, voted for this legislation. Lower prescription drug costs, to lower health care costs, to reduce the deficit, and paid for to lower inflation, to save the planet. And every single Republican in the House and in the Senate voted against it. How could they vote against lowering prescription drug costs? How could they vote against helping families with their health care costs? How can they vote against the planet?
Staying in touch with what happens in the region means you're staying with Triple N. Congratulations on making the perfect choice.
Now more than ever, Flow is working hard to keep you connected to the things that matter most: your family, your work, and your favorite entertainment. We are also providing Flow Study free of charge so students can stay connected and up to date with their schoolwork. And because your safety is our highest priority, you can manage your account from the safety of your own home through the MyFlow app. We are here for you, keeping you connected.
Welcome back to Regional Developments. In St. Lucia, Equity and Social Justice Minister Joachim Henry says more people are converging on his ministry for assistance as a result of inflation and the resulting commodity price increases. We get more in this report.
As the price of food and petroleum products continue to rise, Equity and Social Justice Minister Joachim Henry is not surprised by the large influx of persons converging on his ministry for assistance. In fact, he expects that the numbers will increase, but he says where there's a crisis, there's opportunity.
For me, it's not overwhelming. It provides an opportunity. When there's crisis, there's an opportunity. I remind myself of where I'm coming from. I've been on my own from age 14, so to speak, and I know where I'm coming from and how I've survived.
The minister says it's all about revisiting coping mechanisms, and he's impressed with the level of industriousness displayed by those seeking help.
It gives us an opportunity as to how we should revisit our coping strategies, how we should revisit how we consume. So I help, and I'm happy to help. I have met a few persons who are amazing. I'm talking about struggling people who live so, excited about, receiving support to buy a tent and a cooler because they're going to be selling fruits and water. You understand? Not everybody is coming in these difficult times with such hopelessness. They're coming to look for some assistance, especially our industrious women in St. Lucia,
Minister Henry finds it encouraging that many people are coming forward for assistance, but with ideas for economic survival.
This wraps up the luncheon edition of News as produced by Triple N for today, Monday, 15th August 2022. I have been your presenter, Don Ezra Francois. Thank you for joining us.
From many distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrating song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound of victory great and diverse be our ethnicities. The bonds that unite us are stronger than these.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as soon as we start this program, as usual, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socio-economic issues, or any topical issue of the day, we speak of it. But most of all, you can introduce your own topic. You can always change the subject matter we are speaking about. You know, Grenada never have a dull moment. You have activities in Grenada in addition to that, the Caribbean, the world over. And we fear no subject matter. Today, Monday, the 15th of August, Catholics are celebrating the solemnity of the Assumption of Blessed Virgin Mary. That doctrine of the Assumption of Mary is perhaps recent in terms of Pope Pius XII declaring it as a dogma of the Catholic Church. But since the 4th century, people has been celebrating that solemnity. They generally believe that when Mary died, her body did not know decay. It was assumed into heaven. So soul, body, and divinity. Mary has a special place and of significance in the Catholic Church. And Christianity, well, you know, most of the other religions are just there. Most of the other Christian religions start in recent times. So Mary got this vision from Angel Gabriel. She is the only one in the Bible that was described as full of grace. The same angel Gabriel that visited Muhammad. Muhammad claimed that he got a vision from angel Gabriel. And I believe that too. And that is how Islam started. So yes, there are a number of countries, it's a holiday. But in some countries, it's not a holiday. But the Catholics today had special mass for the feast of the solemnity of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So Catholics, you know, a practicing Catholic who is knowledgeable will know a lot about it. We have Catholics who basically go to church, Sunday Catholics. They go to church and then they go back and wait for when God to come. Some of them in the church don't even bother wasting time trying to convert people because they believe that when God comes, they go meet them alone in the church and they'll go. As you know, there's a part of the scripture that says in the last days, people will run away from the church. They'll go to the mountain. So some Catholic Potolegli, when they see people, you pass and you see the church and hardly, almost empty. Don't believe they bother, you know. They believe the world is going to end and God coming just now. And only them that will be in the church. Sometimes they even bother with their husband. Say, leave him over there drinking your man. We can't bring him in church. We can't try to convert him to come to heaven. It's the same way Marcus Garvey says some black people too bad. You don't want them to go back in Africa. And some religion fighting to get people in the church because they claim it is the last days. So we want you to come to church. So it's a question of belief. And it's always good for you to know why you believe what you believe. I think it's always important. And also Salman Rushdie, you know, he was stabbed by an attacker. He received about 15 stabs in his eyes and head and chest, but 15 stabs apart all over his body. But he's recovering. He's recovering. And I think it was in 83 or 85 or what, he wrote the Satanic Verses. And Ayatollah Khomeini sentenced him to death and was offering, I believe, 25 million for anyone who killed him. So he has been in hiding, but always give letters in different countries. So this is Islam. Islam is not a very forgiving religion. Christ said, if they hit you on one cheek, turn the other. Forgive. And they ask how much times you must forgive. But because they know the law say to forgive 7 times, because they recognize 7 as a perfect number. When you hear people quoting numbers in the scripture, you mustn't take them literally. You have 40 years and 40 years and 7 and 6. 7 was considered a perfect number. So the disciples say, forgive 7 times in one day. Not 7 times in your lifetime, 7 times in one day. And Christ says 70 times 7. But it means all the time. In Grenada time, I don't know how much we're going to forgive at all. Our fuse seems to be very short in Grenada. And we're seeking vengeance, and we want vengeance. And we want vigilante justice. We seem to be avoiding due process. On the 23rd of June, we had election. And by the 24th, we had the official result. Well, let me read this for you. That is a letter that was effective on the 1st of August. This is to notify you that your temporary engagement with the ministry as an assistant community officer has been terminated with effect from Monday, 1st August 22. You will be paid 1 month's salary in lieu of notice. Your termination is due to your direct contradiction of Section 74(1) and brackets 6 of SRO 27 of the rules governing the Public Service Commission. The ministry thank you for your service over the years and wish you all the best in the future. This is some of the green blood that I consider as green blood that the National Democratic Congress been searching for since they get election. I have about 6 of them from Carriacou alone. And you know what disturbs me? It seems it's a pattern from the National Democratic Congress. They does not understand. They go after the lower rank workers with impunity. When the National Democratic Congress had the structural adjustment program, the homegrown structural adjustment program, the workers in the permanent establishment was not retrenched, but they retrenched workers in the estate, Maribo, agricultural farms, low-rank workers that was not really represented by trade union. At that time, Dairy Union could not even pay to be a member of TUC. And when they gather money, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hey, Mr. P.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Afternoon. Mr. P, the color of the flag, you know, the red, green, and gold?
Yes, my friend.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, not yellow, it's gold.
Gold, okay?
Yeah.
What is your favorite color?
Well, my favorite color is blue.
The blue on the flag.
Oh, you don't know the flag?
Yeah.
Now, where the flag, I don't have favorite. All of them is, I take it as a part.
I'll have your favorite.
One color, yeah.
One color, okay. All right, okay. Let's like you love red. And one love two men. One love red, one love green, one love yellow. Okay. You think like yellow in charge because your choice is green. That give you the yellow give you the authority because you love green to get rid of you, and then green may be the one that producing more for your company. But because he supports green as his favorite color, to get rid of him. And say, what I find is happening about that, and you have some people because they know you might support you green, and they get rid of you. They're rejoicing at that, right? And then what I have a problem with when people go to green is a Christian country, and the word of God says every hungry mouth has to be fed, Look at the example with the roadwork. Look when travel to the country. By saying the bush, even somebody does you the bush commanders will have to see it on it. The talk was that there are same prisoners to cut the bush. Nothing happening. The bush going down. And so we have to brighten up our country. We have to brighten up. And I call upon any government. I don't care who it is. Green in power, yes, in power. They need to start this. Every man had to have a family, and who they send with their family. And when they send home that family, you have to also remember in the family, people that support the party in power. But the parents is one that is sent home. You deprive them from the parents who get money to buy this books for them, buy get them money to pay the boss, get them money to get money to buy food. Come on, I call upon leaders. Come and have a heart, and think about people. Because what God said, I still say, what make world go wrong, but I see love. Love conquers everything, and we need to treat people as as we as we. Like what God said, we have to love ourselves. Just how we love ourselves, we have to love people too.
Yeah.
We have to love people too. And I do believe somebody performing, and they perform, and they may perform a different cause. They don't give it. They don't have merit to sell with the person. Because it's always the person that brings you the most is the one who's supporting you. Because the citizens they in power, they go to work when they want, they will do what they want, the party in power.
Thank you,
Right?
Colonel.
I'm saying one thing I do that is we say one Caribbean. And I do believe from that when something happens, we will go to the extreme to say certain things. There is a law, and the law has to take its course. If a man does something wrong, the right procedure to go through it. Yes, we think with Anderson Peters. I feel so sad to see what happened to Anderson Peters. And the police take up the matter. But when you hear the dangers and things, so frequent people saying, like it would check Trinidad, Mr. P. About 1/3 of the people in Trinidad is from Grenada. And you're training here. I'm sure you talk about CARICOM, we talk about the CSM, right? I do believe sometimes we have to think about what we have to say before we say it. So that we have a
Thank you, Colonel. Colonel, there is some big issues you raised there. I could you raise one point. There is some big issues that you raised. And I'll go back to the one that was on because it's one of the first issues you raised. You see, the National Democratic Congress had to go back and look at the history. It's 3 different periods of time that they're practically doing the same thing. They seem to go after the workers that is marginalized. The perception on the ground always, people seem to always believe that the NDC seems to be negative about lower rank individuals in the country. The people come from the lower socioeconomic strata. I have been observing the party over the years. And this is why I say during the structural adjustment program, the homegrown structural adjustment program that was held in Grenada, NDC seemed to single out the workers in the lower echelons, the people in agriculture, the people in the propagating station, the people in Maribo. These were the workers that they went in the church. After 2008, the National Democratic Congress promised we would not get rid of the Imani program. In fact, going to raise the income to $1,000. That was a serious challenge for NNP then. Because here the NNP had this program, the baby program, Imani, and the NDC said we would not fire them. We will raise the salary by $1,000. And we're going to give $400 or $1 to the older folks. And the last 2 weeks of the election, one could have seen the quicksand on the ground. And then what they did, they closed down. They didn't raise the salary, They closed down the money program. And they refused to give the people that $400. Prior to this election, The government say we have too much. The government, NDC then claim that we have too much people on contract. They need permanent jobs. They can't go to the bank. They can't get a loan. So we're going to make them permanent. Election happened on the 23rd. The 24th was the official, you had the official recount and declare. Well, the government conceded before the official count. And immediately letters are sent out on the first. And this is to low rank workers, cooks, people who work with the elderly, some in community development. I have about 6 letters from Carrick. Now, because nothing is wrong if the NDC find that these workers were not functioning. Nothing is wrong if the NDC found out that these workers, some of these workers traveled and they didn't report to the permanent secretary that they were traveling because they're using SRO 27. But I encourage you, when you hear me on the radio, don't just believe what I say. We have a lot of radio personalities preaching hate. They're distorting the truth. So we cannot be very gullible. We must do a research. Go and research the public service rules SRO 27 and go and find out what are the ways you get their whole long list, what category you go, and how you get rid of workers. Now you go after a cook. The election took place on the 23rd. By the 1st of August, Parliament don't even sit in yet, but you have a green list looking around. And I don't mind you go after some high-flown workers with a master's and PhD. You could fire them. I don't even wait, blink in an eye. Because no man with a master's degree is supposed to cry when you fire. If you fire a doctor, you just don't get another job. If you have a permanent secretary and you fire, don't worry about that. Go and plant agriculture. Go and grow tomatoes. If you fire the person in charge of agriculture, go and hunt. I don't even blink in an eye. You fire one of the guys in finance, you have a master's degree. Go and open a crab farm in Grenada. Show Grenadians that you could practicalize your certification. When you go after people working with the elderly, their salary don't even reach $2,000. You know, you're bad-minded. I mean, these people can't fight you. No union going to study them. The union starting to pull up placard to identify with Anderson now. So they can't study these workers from Carrick. Nobody would not study them. But the tears from these people going to haunt you. It has happened before. In 2008, in the village of Paraclete, the Holy Comforter, over 5 women, over 5 persons was, the seed program was taken away from them. Over 5 of them. One of them is about 99 years now. She was the youngest of the group. She had a lot, full of fun, good-spirited, and she could see. But one of the 5 was blind. And the one that was blind had 14 children. And none of them could have been considered as in the intelligentsia had top jobs. And the National Democratic Congress went after this group of people. I'm a little bit disappointed. This new team that come, the foreign minister had to make a point. There's no old people in it. All of them knew. He had to make that point. What, you have no skeleton, you have nobody hated you, you have not done anything yet for people to hate you. So why is it you selected a green list? And I'm not talking about those in Grenada, because those in Grenada is easier for them to get a job. I'm speaking about those in Kaku. About 8 of them, I understand, got letters, but I only have letters from about 6. These people are cooks. These people working with the elderly, somebody in community development, these are the people you promise you will give them permanent job. No, you're looking for green blood. A partner tell me, see a policeman sit down in the veranda with a yellow jersey on him. He said, well, this policeman could never had supported yellow. We ask him what going on. He said, trying to see if his blood could get a little yellowish. He said, boy, what I see going on there. He said, trying to see if his blood could get a little yellowish. So he put on a yellow jersey. And they say the jersey new. He must buy it after election. Now, these are the low rank workers. And it is not necessary. Remember to call 442-0175 and you can use the WhatsApp. You can also use the WhatsApp. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, I think based on what you said,
but I really thought from myself.
Yeah. But that they promise everybody permanent. They say so much poverty, you understand, zero poverty. We can people are the order the system. We send everybody to go into the system and everybody going to benefit. But immediately after assuming office, but the suspension of the battle one. All these things I tell people and people still within 90 days time you shall get pension. All these things and what the so right time don't hold in accountable for this thing I tell you. I'm not a journalist, but you even tell me that you give me hope. Other people give up people hope too. But I know that this you can one way we will make everybody problem. No, you are so in every twitch you may pay. If you have to take all the people from what we call the pension or whatever, what you're talking about forever. And so people like any idea, just take the $64 million and then everybody realize you have over $10 million every month added to the wage bill. So how go we reduce that to 2 weeks, every 2 weeks to pay these people and them? I find that kind of strange. You know, people are questioning this thing and them. People just hope that it will happen. You understand? People and so we still started up with the religion thing. I also hold on to this religious thing, this thing and this thing. I expect no 2,000 men to come from the sky and call people. I don't prefer this. But remember, religion is only 2 billion people believe. We have almost 8 billion people. Only 2 billion people are believing in Christianity. 1 billion in Islam. There are 800 million in Hindu and over 600 million believe in Buddha and everything. So what all these other people and I mean they believe and they God do whatever they believe they wrong and only Christianity right. You know, I see this issue we have to decolonize Christianity. You know, because we know the colonial master Jesus that and they tell us look you come by this guy and God will come and God will born you forever. Why one part in the Bible tell you shall be tormented day and night and you shall born in fire and tormented day and night forever. And once you you have merciful and gracious to anger, you not mental hostility for this European right acting the Greek studies Roman right and to let me conclude. Religion is a belief system. That's not the reality. It's just you believe, you are just hope with nothing. So within 2,000 years, if you die 2,000 years ago, how do you say that as anybody else living today? For me, I don't hold into that because nobody got no facts, only about belief. Religion is only a belief. You believe that, but you have no evidence to prove you believe. You just a belief. So take him up and have a nice day.
Yes, my brother, and one of these days we have to speak about religion and belief. But we're going back to, I read another letter, and this one is on 25th of July, you know. Remember, election was on the 23rd of June, and the official was the 24th, and this letter was dated 25th of July. I'm not calling the person name. This is to notify you that your temporary engagement with the ministry as a cook and that person in the Christian David Child Development Center has been terminated with immediate effect from Monday 1st August. You will be paid 1 month's salary in lieu of notice. But I don't see this one had any SRO. But this one is signed by some Javan Williams, Mr. Javan Williams, as the permanent secretary. Maybe somebody, and it is copied to Senior Administration Officer, Minister of Carrico Affairs, and P.T. Matnick and Local Government, Administration, Finance, Social Worker, Grade 2, Ministry of Carrico Affairs. So somebody could Carrico pass. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes, my brother.
Yes, sir. It is not regular. Um, we get to discuss a little bit of religious history of in our country. But as today, the essential, and today we refer to as Catholic as their essential. And in when Christopher Columbus sighted Grenada and he called the island Ascension Island. Now, the Catholic in Grenada, the Catholic Church, was the first established Christian church in our country. It dates way back to 1649 when Joe Packwood came to Grenada and brought in his contingent a Catholic priest from the Dominican Mass. And that priest lived on the Diamond Estate in St. Mark, Grand Port, it was called at the time. And a few years later, they built the St. Rose Catholic Church in Victoria. The Catholic Church has always been under severe pressure. In 1783, the Anglican, with the rector Wingate in St. George's, made a request to the Saxon to use the Catholic Church for an activity. I think it was St. Patrick's Day that the rector, that the Saxon was not able to give him permission. However, the evening of that Sunday, he and his followers proceeded to the church, broke down the door, and took possession of the Catholic Church. On the Monday, with the support of the then British governor, Matthew, they was instructed to destroy everything popish. And as a result, the Catholics in Grenada, who was more or less, the French dominated the Catholic religion, and that was during the slave period. So as a result, we had a migration from that time to Trinidad after Lucian and some other Frenchmen went to England to meet with the Spanish ambassador. And Carlos I then agreed that the Grenadian French could migrate to Trinidad and to be included. You know what he said, that Cedula was sent to John Shackleton to include the members of Grenada, the migrants from Grenada, into Trinidad, to give them large tracts of land and to exemption from taxes. So from 1783, it is also important to note that when Justin Fields became the Bishop of St. George, it was then the Diocese of St. George's was established, and St. George became a city. And also, Bishop Justin Fields was also included in the table of protocol. The only and first religious person to be included in the table of protocol in Grenada was Justin Fields. So the Catholic Church and the Catholic religion have played a significant role in the socio-economic and educational development of this country. And I think today is a day that Catholics must be proud of as we celebrate the ascension of the Immaculate Conception. I thank you.
Yes, my brother. You know, I always encourage discussion because we have some young blood that seems not to understand our past, and I have no problem and no objection to them, because I always say, when monkey writes history, monkey always right. Let me read Ernesto, man. Good afternoon. I heard your accusation. Do you it? What's the proof you have to back up your statement? Do you know some people who let me be in contact with some of them? You know, any rudimentary little journalist, any radio personalities that have basic sense and have a little fair play. This is easy. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. I lost the caller. Any basic little journalists or radio personalities could verify this fact. I read one of the letters. So all you have to do is to call the ministry and say, give me at the green list. It's a good bit of names, you know. I only come up with these ordinary little folks. I have no stomach for those with masters and bachelors and them bright fellas with briefcase and certificate. If government fire you, go and plant yam, go and plant ginger, go and open a crab farm. Show Grenadians that you could practicalize your certification. But I take the strongest objection when you go to the people of lower socio-economic strata. In the same way I objected to the National Congress homegrown structural adjustment program, it was hailed in Grenada as a masterpiece. I objected to it because it seriously targeted the people in the lower economic group. In 2008, that was one of the damning faults of the National Democratic Congress. They went after the poor of the poor. In the village of Paraclete, 5 women, we ain't talking about man. Them man go and drink rum, and nobody don't care whether I'm going to poor. So it doesn't matter. 5 women. One of them is 99 now. The youngest of the women, she is 99 now. She's still alive. They removed the assistance somehow. You know, and the National Democratic Congress come back and doing the same thing, sending letters. And they know the union is studying these people, you know. Union leaders studying Anderson. They're going to get more international recognition. So they don't bother with these people. Nobody bothering with them. No lawyer. The lawyer that want to petition the parish. And he don't care if they align with New Zealand and Australia. Once they don't align with Grenada. And I don't know if he changed his mind now that we have a new government in power. Or if he decide to retard or refrigerate his policies till the next government change. But this is easy to find out. You don't have to, have more, Every now and then I'm going to read a letter and I would not stop. I would not stop. There are some issues, there are some things we expect. When you have a lot of certificate, when you're a lawyer, when you're a doctor, when you're a senior public officer, a senior policeman, I always believe that you must not abscond your community. I always believe you must support your community. I believe this is one of the weaknesses of Grenada, that our success story is not on identifying with the people on the block. So it's difficult for us to raise the bar on the block. Now, some people should be up in arms, and my real challenge is for these social media warriors, the National Democratic social media warriors. This bouquet of flowers is yours. We have 2 bouquet of flowers in the Caribbean, One is the CARICOM, and the next one is Haiti. Nobody doesn't want to watch Haiti flowers, But in Grenada, no. We have another bouquet of flowers. The people from the lower socioeconomic strata that is being displaced, transferred, harassed, because the perception is that it was strong NNP. Kennedy Boudla liked to say perception is reality. The perception is these people have green blood. I tell you, I was shocked. The man tell me, he police partner sit down in the veranda with a yellow. He said, you have to stop, man. He said, what's wrong with you? He said, man, no yellow. Although public officers and policemen, they tend to keep away from identifying themselves with political party. They try their best. So they don't normally flaunt a political party. But this one, based upon who his family members is, the guy say, well, no. The man have a yellow jersey on him, and he said the jersey new. He must just buy it. And he sit down in the veranda. He say he trying to get it blood yellow. Because obviously, the government seems to have a list. I don't know if it's the government or if it's a transition team. More often than not, coalition of advisors. Or we have a transition team. You cannot go after the people in the lower socioeconomic strata. These are the group that believe you want to make them permanent. No teacher believe that. No policeman believe that. No public officer believe that. They understand the public service. The people who believe that is the people in the lower socioeconomic strata. They believe if they're working for $1,200 and you make them permanent, they could go in the bank. Which bank? If you're making $1,200 a month, which bank you going to have some money? You have to show the bank that you've been saving money for over 2 years. You have to go and show the bank your track record. Because if you're working for $1,200 a month, by the time the bank finish asking you a question, they don't even want you to save with them. But these people believe you. And within 1 month, you were elected on the 23rd, officially on the 24th. Within 1 month, letters dated the 25th of July to take effect from the 1st of August. 1 month notice in lieu, 1 month pay in lieu of notice. Now how that could be right? This thing can't be right. And bright people must object to that. Don't expect the Bar Association to talk about that. That's one of the worst group in the country. This group, almost 100 years old. The Bar Association has never interfered or intercede to settle any dispute in Grenada, you know. That's a shame. They never make an attempt to settle any dispute in Grenada. We had the struggles of the 70s. In 1983, when Vincent Noel was sending out communique and asking Bernard Code and Ewart Lane and the others to report to the nearest police station and saying we have a car with guns to go and take over the telecommunication center. Some people, call on the line, welcome.
Good day, Mr. Pierce.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Mr. Pierce, so they are to start, you know, for they to come out they fast.
No, you don't, you want?
No.
You want?
They dig in their own grave.
You want, but in the process, people is affected.
Yeah, well, they are accustomed doing that. Is that first time?
But we need Grenadians to change. You see, we have a bigger picture.
But them can change. Anything here, let us spoil, you know.
I don't agree with that. They could change. Everybody could change.
All right.
Yes, scholar, thank you. The only reason I'm on radio is because I believe we could change things. I believe if we have confidence in ourselves, if we believe in our people, we could change things. And I believe a lot of things in Grenada could change overnight. And when I say overnight, I mean 5 to 10 years. Because 5 to 10 years is a significant period or a short period when you're dealing with change, fundamental changes. But you see, the government have to understand that some of the people will be affected most from economic problems. When a country in serious economic problems, inflation, hyperinflation, is the poorer people. The more educated people will be always more competitive on the market. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose you fire the commissioner of police. The commissioner of police could simply go to one of the big supermarkets and ask them for a job. And the amount of talents and skills that he coming in with is very easy for him to get a job. He may not get the same pay, but he will be extremely competitive on the market. That company could fire 3 persons and employ him. He could help them do their accounts. He could drive. He could do administration. He could advise them on security. And immediately, he could save them thousands of dollars after 2-3 days. So he is much more competitive on the market. But when you fire a cook in Cargo, where are they going to get a job? Particularly, you use SRO and you fire them and say, you're practically saying these people don't good. That is what you do. So you practically damning their way. You ought not to do that. In the NDC time, they get rid of Shotty in Maribor, you know. Shotty Dotal. He used to sing Calypso Loudtal. He had a specific job in Maribor to fool soil in plastic bags for propagation because he on the ground already. They fired. The National Democratic Congress retrenched him. They say, what? And Shotty they didn't realize he was a staunch supporter. You know, we have you cannot do that. The transition team, I don't know, you know, it's hard because after 9 years out of government is a whole set of political juvenile. And I don't know who is going to advise who. One would have believed that these 9 new people that come did not have a previous political agenda. So they come with an open mind. You are going after the people in the lower socio-economic strata. You're going after cooks. You're going after people who work with the elderly. Now, what is their salary? In terms of economics, although it is very significant, the $1,200 or $1,500 that they will get, it doesn't make a serious dent on the economy. And you promise to make them permanent. So even the shock of the reality that I will be made permanent, and now I have a letter in a brown envelope. When fellas walk in, there's afraid letters in brown envelope. There's not money in it. Anytime you see brown envelope, it could be dismissal, reprimanding, and maybe you get an appointment. So we would not leave this issue. I don't expect the union to speak on it. The NNP seems to go take a hiatus and prepare to give the NDC a fair period. So because I do not openly flaunt any political party, it's not that I'm not political. I'm more political than a lot of politicians. But I just don't openly flaunt a political party. I believe I will not leave this issue. We have to change when a government change. The ordinary man must not feel that he's going to lose his job. You see, you could have do the same thing and wait 6 months on the road. You know? Did you involve due process? Did you call the people and say, your performance is unacceptable? Did you talk to them? Did you write them a letter? That is why I say in the public service, government is the best employer. If you're in the private sector fire you easier because they're concerned about productivity. But responding to my caller, in the private sector, they don't care whether you're green or yellow. You know. What they want to know, they're making money. In the government services are different thing. The private man, Kenny Larson, don't care if you're green, yellow, or black. All Kenny Larson concerned about that you're productive. In the government services, a different story. This is why we could pay people in the government that don't come to work. That is the only reason. No private company doing that. The courts say it's not legal. But you could do that in government because it's government work. Government can't boss. This is the attitude of some workers. So nothing is wrong in disciplining a worker. And the people who write letters, if you find they were unproductive or they traveled and they didn't notify the permanent secretary that they were going away, because that is what in the SRO. You could do that, but you gotta wait at 2 months. You gotta wait at least 2 months to have an opportunity to speak to them once. So I take strong objection to that. I think you're on the wrong trajectory. And my brother, Onisto, NDC will be in office for the next 20 years, so you'll have a whole lot of talking to do. You just started. But nothing is wrong in the National Democratic Congress staying in office for 20 years. If the National Democratic Congress is performing, Grenadians would leave them in office. They would not move them. This election should teach a serious lesson. The NNP never realized they would lose the election. The NDC never realized they go win the election. The ordinary people on the ground decided, I'm not so satisfied with the NNP, I'm going to give NDC a try again. This has nothing to do with the political parties. If the National Democratic Congress is performing, we want to keep them in power, not we. The people would keep them in power. But if they decide they're going to go after the people in the lower socioeconomic strata, if the Prime Minister of Grenada decides he's going to play a job with charcoal and food-grade substances that does not affect his body, while he silently encourages other Grenadians to play with oil oil, people are going to wake up one morning. And it is not in our interest when we don't have political stability. The only two periods in Grenada history when we achieved the most is under Eric Matthew Gary and under Keith Mitchell. And that is the only two leaders that won election on more than one occasion continuously. And it tells you that Grenada have the most mature political individuals in the Caribbean. They don't follow the convention, I give you 2 seats, I give you 1. No. They leave you there and they're watching your behavior. So if the government is able to appoint, to make permanent all the workers, including those they fire, if they decide to transform the economy, if they decide to make the Imani permanent, and if they could get Jab to change and go and play with food-grade substances and charcoal rather than oil, and we improve the health system to an acceptable level in Grenada, why move the NDC out of power? We could stay 50 years. So yes, my brother Oniso, we could do that. And you could give me a call. The number to call is 442-0175. You could also use the WhatsApp. And I will read your posts. Once I'm able to make out your posts, I will read your posts on the radio. I welcome your call. And Onisto, again, we had 23 plus years of victimization and oppression under the Keith Mitchell administration. But I don't think this is necessarily true, but that's your opinion. It is during this period that we liberalize the telecommunication network. Sometimes people forget that. It's during the Keith Mitchell era that we liberalize the telecommunication network. You have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yeah, I just want to make a short comment, Mr. Pierre.
Punch.
I heard you talking about people that this present government is sending home. But Mr. Pierre, I don't like people that have short memory at all.
You don't believe that I'm correct when I read the letter and I say they're sending them home?
You're not correct. I'm not saying you're not correct.
What you're saying?
I don't like people that have short memory. In 2013, Mr. Pierre, I could recall real good. There was a project coming up from Progress Pack to Telescope. Immediately after the NNP came into power, they take all the material from Telescope and bring it at the airport and store the cement in a shed they have there for all the cement to still ride there, Mr. Pierre.
Caller, you think that was wrong? Caller, you think at that time that was wrong?
It was wrong.
Caller, you think it is wrong? And caller, do you think it is wrong? No. The letters that I read out, do you think it is wrong now?
No. Here, but I'm telling you, Mr. Pierre, let's go back to 2013. If we didn't go from 2013, we could have never reached 2022, right? That is where the bad government came in and have people know, if you want to say looking for revenge, it's going to happen.
So do you agree? Because do you agree that these people should be dismissed from the job?
I'm not saying
you see the difference is,
believe, Mr. Pierre, that in 2013, when they had sent the amount of people home, when Keith Mitchell said he cannot work with that lady from St. David, he cannot work with the commissioner of police, do you think it was right to have these people and them sent home? It wasn't right. So you read a letter about somebody who is an assistant cook. What is an assistant cook? It is just making jobs.
Caller.
Yeah.
That is where you and I are going to part ways. Because I said before, if an individual has a master's or a bachelor's degree, a PhD, it is easy for him to find a job. If you're a cook, if you're a cleaner, particularly in a small area like Carriacou, it is more difficult for you to find a job. And if you think what was done in 2013 was wrong, do you think it is right now to do it after? Remember, one of the big fundamental play in the election was we're going to make you permanent. And instead of making you permanent, you dismiss the workers. Do you think this is in the interest of the NNP, of the NDC?
Mr. Pierre.
Do you think it is in the interest of the NDC?
Let me tell you, Mr. Pierre, while it is wrong.
If it's wrong, it's wrong. That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Pierre, do you honestly believe that the people who supported NDC now and the people who supported NNP in the past, that you're going to leave them there to do absolutely nothing? I could tell you, I see people who they have, well, let me not go there, right? I said like it, I ain't going there.
Thank you, Colonel.
But there is people come on, Mr. Pierre, we got to be honest.
Thank you.
People that have voted for a government, and it's time the other people just stay out now.
Well, I'm not, thank you, Colonel. I'm not disputing.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. I'm not disputing if that is the policy of the government. I have no problem. If the policy of the government is that you was working, so you have to go home now for me to bring a next set of people, that's all right. That's the policy of the government. But this is not the impression I got in the campaign. I thought when they were campaigning, they said, we're going to make you permanent because you're on contract, you're on temporary, you are on temporary. So at that time, the people believe that I'm doing a temporary work and a new government is going to come and make me permanent. This is the issue. And if you say publicly that we're going to make you permanent, we are dissatisfied. You supernumeraries. I think that's a term that is used in the public service. We used to say temporary permanent because you're there so long. They say too much people on contract. The trade union was jumping up. They say you're using that as a ploy to get votes. So people vote against that. And then you turn back and you decide to send them home. 1 month, you took power the 23rd. And by the 25th of July, these people letters were prepared. It can be right. But I think the best thing you could do is to maybe ask the ministers how they feel. The new ministers of the NDC, ask them how they feel about that. And the gentleman who want to know if the letters is authentic, it is easy. Call the ministry in Carriacou and find out. Maybe somebody from Carriacou, Color Honesto, you have a lot of contacts. This thing is very easy for you to verify. Just call one of your sources and they're going to inform you, and I'm certain you would have some of those letters. So, Honesto, call one of them. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, Mr. P.
Yes, my brother.
To me, I did something I did.
And you have to be quick.
Yeah, I did understand some people. Like, look, if NMB did something wrong, you're solving a wrong with a wrong to solve a problem, right? Because even what you were saying, a lot of people maybe were suffering, they were suffering, and they were on contract. And when you say to them that you will make a lot of people who were suffering NMB, they could end up voting for NDC because they get up on a job. You understand? So a lot of people vote because with the promises made to them, and they was in contract and they make it permanent. They vote for the permanent. And if you want to say to someone in their position, that I mean, you like for the people and you betray the people.
You see, caller, when you have a government change, you expect some workers to change. But these are low-rank workers. These workers are not in any position to influence policies. Normally, a government might say, this permanent secretary, this member, this board, so we're going to change them because they could tar our process. And I am in full support of that. Yeah. You talking about a cook?
A cook?
You speaking about the assistant cook?
I said I cook and walking.
You speaking about somebody in the LLE? Yes, we have the last caller. Yeah. Yes, caller. Thank you. Yes, we're coming on to the end of the program, and we constantly provoke a discussion on the issue. This is one of the issues that we want people continue to stay with. Every now and then I'm going to read out a letter once I have it. My concern is not that the people are dismissed, but was the due process take place. At any time you call the people and say, we are dissatisfied with your performance. Because again, you people know you could research the SRO, the rules. And I noticed one of the letters didn't have any SRO on it, but you could research it. And if we could make a difference in Grenada, we could use the past as a reference, but we cannot use it as a justification. To say they castrate people during the revolution, so we could castrate people now. And thank you very much.
Some seeking adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voice high, sing of your Caribbean pride, sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum for Caracom. The great and diverse be our ethnicities. The bonds that unite us are stronger than peace. We cry, we pray, we love. We dance and we play. We relate to each other. The rest in Yahweh. Today, as a people united as one, determined and steadfast we stand. We look to a brand new horizon. The future now firmly in our hands. Raise your voices high and sing of your Caribbean pride.
Triple N. Informative, entertaining, and first. Every hour on the hour.
This is the latest news update produced by Triple N. Details when we get back.
Introducing the Grenlec mobile app. You can now get your bill balance and easily track energy usage for your home or business. Report and receive alerts about power outages. Plus, stay up to date by receiving the latest notifications. Yes, the Grenlec app keeps you connected anytime, anywhere. The Grenlec mobile app. Download for 24/7 access.
Welcome back. Locally, the People's Republic of China completes project on the Grenada Athletic Stadium. In the region, in Trinidad and Tobago, NH International Caribbean Limited held a graduation ceremony for 10 interns who trained with the company in a variety of areas within the construction field. We get more in this report.
NH International Caribbean Limited recently held the graduation ceremony for 10 interns who trained with the company in a variety of areas within the construction field. Chairman of NH, Emile Elias, said based on the application submitted, he saw a need for training in the practical and educational aspects of construction.
Hundreds, 450 applications we had for this program, which suggests to me and to the country the hunger that's there to be part of a vibrant construction industry. And I hope that you will have all the success that you hope for.
Gabriel LaRose, one of the graduating interns, said they're engaging training sessions on topics such as pre-construction, preparation of tenders, and quality management gave great insight into the operations of the company.
We learned quickly that 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday and Saturday 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. were merely guidelines. As we made a long shift, pouring concrete, supervising finishes, learning the force system, or completing payments according to our specific rules, often volunteering our time on Sundays as the need arose.
Managing Director of NH Kit Kennedy explained that the company has pioneered a training initiative to provide opportunities for young people across the Caribbean to complete work in the region. Mr. Kennedy said the company intends to train 10 interns every year.
Around the globe, the U.S. Speaker of the House of Representatives said the reports that former President Donald Trump had classified documents is a matter of national security. Here are the details.
There are laws against the improper handling of this material. There are laws against that, and we have to recognize that. This information, as it is coming across, and we'll know more later, is highly classified, well above top secret. It is again higher than top secret. It's top secret SCI. It is. It's about our national security, as we are told, and we'll see how deeply it goes into that. So I think our concern is always to protect and defend. And protecting and defending means we do not frivolously treat the documents that relate to perhaps, as they're saying, and we'll find out, again, all alleged at this point. I don't know any more than is in the public domain. Everybody's holding it very tightly, that if the nature of this of these documents is what appears to be, this is very serious. You would think there would be an adult in the Republican room that would say, just calm down, see what the facts are, and let's go for that, instead of instigating assaults on law enforcement. Thank you all very much. We have to go to the floor for the moment of silence now. Thank you.
And in sports, Andy Murray has been selected for Great Britain's Davis Cup team, but rising star Jack Draper has missed out. This ends the latest update of news. Thank you for listening.
Triple N. Informative, entertaining, and